It's Stephen here. Welcome to our virtual food festival Fringe sessions. I hope you're safe and well. These sessions are all about championing suppliers that we all want to get to know and love and really support. These are much shorter sessions than the virtual food festivals themselves. They're marathon sessions, but we get some brilliant people on. Today we'll probably run for about an hour, and it's a way of showcasing some of the excellence that we have underpinning the hospitality sector. We had a brilliant second food festival. It was amazing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. You can still support what we're doing on these little Fringe sessions as well. We've got the front row open. We're allowing people to come in and ask questions, feel part of the whole interaction of these sessions. And we're able to do that by placing little rewards on our crowdfunder website. I'll just tell you how you can do that if you haven't already. You can pop over to the crowdfunder website. You can access that through our own virtualfoodfestival.org website. There's a pledge, a donate button, and look for those rewards. So there's the front row, there's all sorts of other prizes as well, and means in which to support some of the producers and suppliers that we are showcasing. And let's bring on our first guest this evening. These sessions, as I said, are all about getting closer to the chefs, getting to know their business, looking at the relationships that they have with their hero suppliers. We're going to get our first two people on all the way from Cornwall. Can I introduce you to Rick Good and Katie? Hi, Katie.
Oh, hello. Sorry.
Hi, how are you? All right? Hello, Rick.
I promise.
Hi, guys.
How you doing, Steve?
You both look very Hollywood and rock and roll.
Oh, well, that's just how we roll.
Yeah, brilliant.
Dressed up especially for you.
Thanks, mate. I take that as a compliment. I've just stepped out of the shower. Oh, right, great. We've got to eat cinema.
That's more like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, fantastic. How are you both? Okay?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Panda's still alive, so mission accomplished so far. Panda's our daughter, for anyone that doesn't
Yeah, we
know.
don't have a giant panda living in our garden or anything.
Well, I think that's good to clear that up, because when I was talking about suppliers and producers, I think some people might have thought, where is this going? Are they going to eat a panda?
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
No bamboo has been used in this recipe.
It's frowned upon.
It is, and quite rightly too. And you both look really well. How's lockdown going for you?
We're making the best of it, really. Just like the three of us getting to spend so much time together. Obviously, like our daughter's like 8 weeks old, so under normal circumstances, one of us would be sort of tearing around like 100 miles an hour with work with the three restaurants that we've got. So this was never expected for us to all be together for so long. So that's definitely the silver lining of it all. Yeah,
and you sound as if you're all still friends.
Yeah,
just about.
Yeah, you should have seen just before we went live. It was like,
yeah,
it's like the game place.
Exactly. You get that out of the way, and then smile to the nation.
Yeah, now we're business partners. Now we're not. Now we're not married couple. We're business partners. So we've got to keep it professional.
Exactly. That's different, because running business is it's difficult anyway. But in these really weird times, having three restaurants is particularly irksome. Let's talk a little bit about Prawn on the Lawn, and then if we can, let's talk a little bit about the backstory before we came into this weird lockdown land.
Yeah, so Prawn on the Lawn is our first restaurant. We opened in Highbury in 2013, so 7 years ago now. It started life as a fishmonger, so it was only meant to be fishmonger with sort of 8 bar stools where you can pop in, buy some fish, chat to your friendly fishmonger, and sort of, ask, because I always found it really intimidating going into a fishmonger and sort of not really knowing what I wanted to buy and sort of asking lots of questions. Just really, I just felt really stupid. So because I didn't know a lot, I feel like fish can be a bit confusing. So we wanted to make it a really friendly environment. You could ask lots of questions. You could stay and have a glass of wine, have a couple of oysters, and it just grew from there, really.
Yeah, got completely out of hand. And now
I think that's really interesting, isn't it? Because so many people have a kind of plan, and yet when something happens, most of it is to do with the fact that you've got a lot of passion in what you're doing, and that kind of rubs off on people. But then there's this unknown element which you just kind of go, wow, this is amazing. And I think that, you know, that you should welcome that space in business, shouldn't you?
Yeah, and I think we're going through that probably again now. You know, it's, you have a plan and then the plan changes because of circumstances, because of, you know, things out of your control. And that's kind of what happened with Prawn to start with. The out of control bit was our customers. You know, they sort of demanded more food, so that's how it developed into a restaurant. And I think we're about to go into that sort of period again, where we probably will be quite customer led in what they want from us, and we'll make the sort of right changes for that.
Well, you're right, Kate.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, a perfect example is our London restaurant now. After needing a good few weeks after Panda being born, and kind of just sitting back and like working out what we were going to do, we've now reopened the London restaurant as a just the fishmonger side of it. So actually going, like Katie was explaining, right back to the roots of where we began originally. So Patrizia and Danielle are our GM and head chef. They're manning the fort in London with fresh fish coming up from Cornwall, some amazing bass coming across from Suffolk.
Some bits from Johnny, who we did our last demo with.
So I mean, it's we're seeing it as another opportunity and chance to do something a little bit different, because we kind of got led away from the path we were originally going to go down. So it's exciting. Challenging.
It's very challenging, and you know, you have to embrace it, and only a certain type of person will embrace it. And I've got a view, I'm the eternal optimist, and I think that the people that behave in a sort of positive way now and adapt and change and still consider the business and the customer equal, I think these people will come out of this weird scenario with more love and respect from their customers. I think, you know how you get like a red tractor for a food association stamp for produce and high welfare, or MSC. I think there'll be something similar for people who run the type of business in the food world that have shown excellence.
I think you're right. And we were chatting to a mate of ours yesterday, and we were saying it is all about relationships, and the whole sort of ethos of the virtual food festival and these Fringe events is those relationships that specific chefs and restaurateurs have with, like Tim, who has the mussel farm and the oysters, and then other Tim, confusingly, that's going to be on later as well, who we get all our wine from. And it's those personal relationships that make a massive difference, and we're all going to work together to
support each other to get through it all. I think
get through the other end, still being able to do what we do best.
Brilliant. And I think that's quite a good moment now to sort of like bridge over into what we're going to do today. I mean, like, hopefully we're going to be able to watch you guys rustle up something fantastic, but at the same time champion a supplier. Maybe it's an opportunity now just to tell us what you're going to cook, the ingredients, and then we can perhaps talk to and introduce the supplier hero that you've chosen today.
So I guess we've got kind of like two heroes for our event today, but the dish is going to be the less sexy name is Mussels in a Bag, but to expand on that, it's basically an Nduja butter that we're going to make using Dutchy charcuterie Nduja, which is a Cornish Nduja. Unbelievable product. Like, we use it loads. It's just it becomes
an addiction. That's a problem.
So we're going to carry on.
Sorry, mate. I talked over you. And Nduja is this kind of spicy, spreadable salami, isn't it?
Typically from Calabria. And
it's Mark, right? Mark from Dutchy.
So we're using his Nduja. We're going to make an Nduja butter, and the mussels go into the bag. Nduja butter in there. We've got a few of the sort of last remaining wild garlic leaves that we're going to chuck in there. You could use wild garlic dried, or just ditch it because there's also baby leeks that we got from Ross at Padstow Kitchen Garden, because we can't leave him out. And then we're going to just chuck it straight on the barbecue and steam it in the bag, and just show how simple it is just to take some mussels, add a few little bits and bobs, splash of wine, steam it in a bag, and you've got a delicious meal for two.
And you can do it outside, inside, like that's the whole idea. We're showing it on a barbecue outside because it was really sunny. I mean, it's that's why we've got these on. It hasn't been cloudy all day, but yeah, but you can also obviously do it in your oven, or you know, in a pan as well. So it's really versatile.
Great. That's
quick.
Yeah, quick, versatile, and it's all about the ingredient, and you know, not to get away from the fact there's a lot of skill from you two, but it's really about the simplicity and celebrating all the good stuff.
Did we talk about the mussels?
So that's hero number one is Tim, who's Tim Marshall, so the family that supply the mussels for the restaurants. They also do incredible oysters, like some of the best oysters I've ever tasted.
Yeah, amazing.
We've tasted a fair few, and we're so lucky to have this produce literally on our doorstep. The great thing is, because obviously we want to keep everyone connected with being able to buy this produce, is it's available through Fish for Thought, and also wings of St Maur's as well, which obviously I think links will be put on the website. And then we're going to have a wine pairing from our very good friend Tim, another Tim McLaughlin Green, who's got owns Sommelier's Choice, a long-term friend of ours. Been really instrumental in helping the business progress, and so he's going to provide a little insight into a couple of wines that he thinks will go really well.
Great.
Basically, Rick didn't like my wine choices last time, so he's asked Tim to do it this time.
I brought in the big guns.
Well, no, that's all right. I kind of like the fact that you drank a wine called Fizzy Bum Bum. You know, and I see that it's obviously you have to wear the same color t-shirt to the wine that you're drinking, right, Rick?
Yeah, always match your outfit to your wine.
Great, perfect.
Although I should be drinking Vino Verde with this on, I think.
Yeah, well, let's move on. A Scottish Vino Verde.
Yeah, or a whiskey.
Okay. Shall we see if Tim's there? Tim number one, Tim Marshall.
Let's get Tim in.
I want to see where he is.
We're just going to drag him from the green room, where he's obviously drinking champagne, sipping his own
eating oysters.
Yeah,
a dozen oysters, some champagne.
Exactly. And I think that one of the best things about these sessions is they're kind of really a great opportunity just to show how important it is for the people who are on the front line, such as yourselves, depend upon the quality. And I think I remember a story where I'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be a good one.
Okay. I grew up in Manchester, and we had a fishmongers on Burnage Lane, and I'll tell you how my nan used to tell us to shop for fish. Hi there, Matt. Can you see? We got Tim.
Yeah, it's Tim here from British Shelby. Sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry. That's fine. How come everybody gets a brilliant backdrop, and I look as if I'm in prison?
You've got to start painting something on the back there, like just jazz it up a little.
Yeah, I might do. We might do
something like that.
We might do a crowdfunder. Put your face here, 10 quid.
Or you could put up all your boys' own posters or whatever.
No, they're very safe in a box. They are not coming out and getting light damage. Tim, how are you? Welcome to the Fringe session, Tim.
Thank you very much.
And you've been getting a lot of love from the two guys, Katie and Rick, and it's all about you. And so could you give us a little backstory about how you came into this business? Because I know you're sort of deeply rooted in the topography of where you are in Rock.
Yes, well, I mean, it's quite a long story, but I'll keep it as brief as possible. But we've been in Port Phillip for 5 generations, or the 5th generation has now been born. My grandparents and my father ran a mixed dairy farms and mixed farming scenario. My brother and myself took on from my father, and at the time it was obvious that we're going to struggle to make a living for two of us. Neither of us wanted to leave. I was always quite keen on fishing of any sort, so at the time one of my dad's contemporaries was gleaning some Pacific oysters which somebody had tried to grow and selling them on. A great character called Jack Hughes. He's a great boat builder, fisherman, poacher, drink like a fish. But he was gleaning this stuff. He's quite old, and he said, "Oh, you should be growing these. I got a friend in Exmouth who's growing this stuff properly. Come up and see him." So I went to saw him, and basically he was growing the oysters on trestles like the French do. So sort of copied that and adapted it to our little river, and started off as a bit of beer money really, and it just slowly grew from there. And along with fantastic chefs in Padstow and the likes of Keith Floyd and Rick, who sort of bigged up shellfish and fish in general, the market just slowly grew as the years went by. There were times when I couldn't sell them, and tons on my plate. So I had to visit to France. We soon got rid of stuff into France, which is just as well, because they make pretty poor pets. So I was pretty glad to get rid of them.
And
on the back of that, my son came home and joined us and started growing mussels, which is what we're talking about today, really. This is oysters I was talking about, but and we started growing mussels.
And the mussels and the oysters that you grow, are they native or non-native, or do you go for a specific type?
So the oysters are a non-native. The natives are very difficult to farm. They're only a wild product, really dredged. The French introduced the Pacific oyster back in the early 70s, when the Bonamia wiped out their stocks of native oysters. They introduced the Pacific to replace it, and readily farmed, easily farmed, or fairly easily farmed. 2-year growth cycle as opposed to 5 years on the natives. And it just boomed from there in France, and we've copied that basically. The mussels, really, all mussels are wild, really. There are 2 different sorts. They're edulous and Gala provincialis, but the majority is edulous. The only difference you do get in mussels is the rope grown, so deep water and Scottish lochs, or off the south coast of Cornwall where the ropes hang down, or bottom grown, which we do in this estuary, which is very shallow. So we tend to spread the seed. We buy seed from areas that have an abundance of seed. So we buy small mussels, spread them on the sea floor, leave them for a year or 2, and then dredge them back up again.
Amazing. What a fantastic scenario. Tim, one of the things that I've learned about farming families is that, again, like in the hospitality sector, they're very, they're innovative and they diversify. But I'm also aware that working with a family, particularly in farming, quite often are quite fractious relationships. Was it an easy transition for you?
The transition into the diversifying was quite easy. Yeah. So my brother was very keen on the dairy side of it, and I wasn't quite as keen. Like I said earlier, fishing was my passion and mucking about on the river. So it really fell into place really nicely for us on that front. And it is a livestock. It doesn't look like a livestock, but it treats like a livestock, and it treats you back well. And I think that's where what really made the transition easy. If you treat it like a livestock, which I learned a lot about through all my growing up with my father and my brother, and that was the secret to especially the oyster side of things, was treating them like a livestock as opposed to something else. I don't know.
Yeah, just a commodity, and of course then there's obviously a need for welfare. If it's a livestock, there's a sort of welfare then. How can people order directly from you?
How can people order? Well, most of the stuff we do a little bit of doorstep sales, so people can visit us and buy. Simply Oysters, they champion our oysters for us really well. And then there are various wholesalers in the area, the local fishmongers, Rockfish, Fish for Thought, Wings and Flying Fish. They're the 3 main people we use. Celtic Fishing Game also. but any of the local wholesalers in Cornwall have a contact with us, really.
Great. And I know that there's a season for oysters. Is there a season for mussels?
Yeah, like anything, the mussels will tend to be spawning around about now. So in Cornwall, they tend to spawn and recover fairly quickly because I think the levels of food in the water. So it can just give a period. They're just coming up to it now, I think, when they're a little bit weak. And then when they spawn, they'll be very thin. Yeah. So perhaps at the end of the month, we'll stop selling, or when they spawn, we'll stop selling for a little while. And
so grab them while you can.
So, yeah, you just timed it just right, actually. Another week is a disaster, but yeah. And the oysters at their peak at the moment in our river, and they'll start to go creamy, and in maybe July time for 3 or 4 months. Just a different product, nothing wrong with them. They're just full of eggs.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you for giving us such a wonderful backstory, and obviously that your quality and the care that you put into your ingredient is obviously the reason why you're being championed by so many.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that there's an opportunity now, Tim, to say thank you. And should we put Katie and Rick to the test to see if they can do your product justice?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm just filming.
Briefly, when I get a chance like this, for people who buy shellfish, in particular oysters and mussels, never re-immerse them in water. Store them in the bottom of the fridge under a damp cloth, and they'll last a fair while there. But the big mistake that some people make is they will put them into water, or even some chefs, not so much now, but with porridge oats and things like this. And it was just a bizarre situation where we keep them clean as we can, and then they'll put them in buckets of water outside the back door, and they'll deteriorate rapidly. But that's something I like to put over whenever I get a chance.
Brilliant. And that does show the care that you put into your produce even after you've sold it. That's the top tip, Tim. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, fella.
Thanks, Tim.
Cheers, Tim.
Thank you. So, Katie?
Yes.
Camera
pressure's on.
No, there's no pressure here. Come on.
Right, here goes.
We've got the best of the best here.
Right.
Hold on. Just to help me along.
Chef's prerogative.
Brilliant. Great. Cheers, fella. Nice to see you.
Right.
Really. Tell us about the mise en place, Rick.
Okay. So Tim's amazing. Some wild garlic. I've got to be completely honest, completely forgot about it and literally rushed up to Ross Skeech's Padstow Kitchen Garden farm shop and grabbed some. But you can get it for free everywhere. He ripped me off for £2.
Didn't even get it for free.
Unbelievable.
Baby leeks, a lemon, some of the Dutchy charcuterie and Duya. Great product.
Amazing.
And then we've actually got Tim, who's our wine dude. We've got Agrodolce white vinegar that we get from him. It's a little secret kind of ingredient we use in a lot of our sauces and things like that. Because we've actually got...
Yeah, not anymore.
it was a secret. And some of his olive oil. But yeah, we've got the vinegar because we're going to be putting butter and some like quite fatty sort of Nduja. So having the vinegar kind of balances it all out perfectly. And that's all the ingredients.
Beautiful.
And a glass of wine for me.
Can I just ask, are you like the Eden Project, and do you play a kind of loop of bird song in the background?
No, it's actually the birds. And is it really loud? I was saying that to Rick. I'm wondering if it's too loud.
No, it's beautiful. It's really nice. Yeah,
there's like loads of trees over here with about 1 million crows sitting them about this time at night.
Watch out for that. Watch out for those mussels.
Yeah, I know. All the seagulls will be coming in.
Oh no, quick.
Okay, so can I just ask one thing? Just because is that Rick's totally in now? You've got whole thing, head, everything.
Yeah, we've got his.
Okay, cool. Because it looks different on one screen to the other on this phone here, so I'm just checking.
No, he looks like a complete mussel in a bag.
Oh, nice. See what you did there.
Okay.
I was going to say Rick shows your muscles, but I thought that was a bit cheesy.
Right.
Okay.
You only just beat me to it.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Go for it, Carl.
No,
Are we going?
Yeah, please do.
Go for it.
That butter looks amazing.
The butter.
Cornish.
Cornish butter.
Of course it is.
Bit of Cornish butter. Other butters are okay, but not as good.
Not
A little bit of butter in there. So we're making the andouille butter.
Yeah.
Super simple. Let me move that bowl out of the way so you can see what's going on. So this is the andouille. So we're just going to take a little bit because it's quite spicy, peppery. There's a little skin on the outside of it. It's almost like a paste, pretty much. So we're going to take a generous amount because we like it quite spicy. And then we're going to add that into the bowl. And then juice. These are mega lemons. Normally you'd use like the juice of one lemon, but because these are mega lemons, we're just going to use juice of half. And then literally just, because the butter's, I've kind of softened the butter already.
Sorry, we've got a sous chef here as well.
Yeah, who's that?
That's our dog, Dory.
Our cockapoo.
Yeah, she thinks she's a human. Oh,
She's a foodie.
oh, and that's the other one. Kiki, come here. They can smell the andouille. They've been trying to get it all day out the fridge.
Yeah.
So it's literally as simple as that. So
Nice.
we've got
Please,
an andouille butter with like lemon juice.
Yeah.
So it's nice and citrusy, nice and spicy. You get that, put that to one side. If you make too much, then keep it in the fridge. It'll just act like normal, like regular butter, and just smear it all over a piece of toast, sourdough, whatever. Make your own bread, whatever you fancy. Smear it all over it and just sit there and enjoy. It's delicious.
Quality.
So
and you can put it in sauces and all sorts, really, as well, can't you?
yeah, for sure. You can melt it. You could melt it down, or even put it like that on a piece of monkfish that you were roasting in the oven.
Nice.
It's so versatile. It's a good little thing. Once you've made it, you can even put it, wrap it in cling film, stick it in the freezer as well, and use it at a later date, whatever you fancy.
I can just see coming into frame the big green egg. Are you cooking on that today?
Yeah. So this dish is great because you can make all of this up in advance. If you're doing like a barbecue for like loads of mates, you could make loads of bags up that I'm going to do in a minute. Have them all ready to go, get your barbecue going and chuck it on that. Or if it's not barbecue weather, just do it in your oven. So we'll move over to the bag. So it's basically, I've had to use a couple of sheets of tin foil, but it's in a big rectangle with a bit of parchment in the middle. The parchment is where you will sit the mussels.
Yeah.
If you can get wider foil than this, then it makes life a lot easier. But this is
Failed there, apparently.
this is what we had in the cupboard. So I've like done a few layers with some parchment in the middle, and you basically just make a massive rectangle, and then fold the edges over, and then place your mussels in the middle of the bag.
Right. And Rick, did you have to de-beard those mussels?
Good question actually. Yes, I did.
Dory.
So beard, let's see if I did the job really badly. Actually, yeah, I did. So there's like just a little bit of like beard just left here.
Yeah.
So you literally just grab it and pull it down and get rid of them.
And that's where it's in on the rope, yeah?
That's what, sorry?
Was that the bit where it was attached to the rope?
Well, that's what makes Tim's mussels different to most other mussels, is that they're not rope grown. So the rope grown ones do tend to grow much faster. So you'll find that the shells are much thinner.
Yeah.
But because these are grown on the estuary bed, that's why they get dredged up. It's not an issue. A lot of people think dredged is bad, but because it's the estuary is like, it's got a sandbank and it's sand based. It doesn't cause any harm, but they grow on the seabed actually. So it's where they like attach to each other and anything, any little rocks and things like that. But yeah, you do end up with a few little beards that you just need to get rid of. So next up,
Yeah.
You following me, Katie?
Yeah.
You got this?
Yeah.
Okay, nice one.
Katie's
We're literally just going to plonk little bits of the Untitled butter. I'm going to be really generous, just because I can today.
great.
It's your cheat day.
Yeah.
Every day's a cheat day on lockdown, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, so you got your Untitled butter there. Right, Ross's got it.
Yeah.
Ross's baby leeks. If you don't have baby leeks, then you can use spring onion if you want.
Yeah.
Where's my knife gone? There it is. So just take the ends off, get rid of those, and then just roughly chop. You don't need to be precious about it. Leave each end. Now grab those, and we're literally just going to chuck them over the top. Just like that. And then we've got our incredibly expensive wild garlic leaves.
Could have been for free.
Gold plated.
So yeah, just give them if you're obviously picking them yourselves, give them a quick rinse. And then right now, because down here anyway, the petals are starting to drop off and you get left with these awesome little, I suppose they're almost like little capers left on the end where the petals were.
Yeah.
You can literally pull those off and chuck those in, separate them, along with some of the leaves. There we go.
It's very rustic, this dish. Like, you don't have to have sort of
great.
lots of chef skills to be able to recreate it.
So,
No, that's
it looks like a mound and it looks like
the whole ingredient.
Yeah, exactly. And there's literally only 5 ingredients, I think, in this we worked out earlier, isn't it?
Yeah, very little less for sure. Anyway, so we've got those in the middle. So we're going to grab both ends of the foil, and you can do some chefy things of like crimping it over and things like that. But ultimately, all you need to do is make sure that the bag is sealed around the sides, and you've got no joints at the bottom, because we're going to pour some wine in. So you don't need to be precious about it. Just like literally crunch it up.
That's the technical term.
Yeah. You can tell I'm self-taught, can't you?
And will it be Tim's wine that you're pouring in, or is
it? Will indeed.
Yeah.
So Tim will be on in a second, and we will have a quick chat about the wine that we are using today. There we go. So that's professionally scrunched up around the sides.
It looks like a Cornish pasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Maybe I've been down here too long.
Yeah.
Tim will probably have a heart attack me doing this.
I said you only cook with what you are happy to drink, right? That's the rule.
Yeah.
I think that's a good tip. So we're going to just do a splash. Don't tell Tim, even though he's watching. A little splash of that. So the reason for adding the wine does add a bit of flavour, but also it just adds that liquid that will help steam the mussels in the bag. So
definitely looks like Cornish pasty now.
There we go. 1 mussel Cornish pasty.
Great.
Over to the big green egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
So what temperature is that at?
Massive, like 250, but in your oven, just whack it on top temperature.
Yeah.
Bang, in the middle. Whilst this is open, I'm going to take a little bit of bread. Yep.
This was actually cooked by our head chef and our general manager. They're in a bit of a sourdough war at the moment.
Sourdough war. So this is Eddie Thompson, head chef of Prawn on the Lawn Padstow, and then we've got GM of Prawn on the Lawn Padstow with his white sourdough. we're not going to say which one we prefer because there'll be.
We like them both equally.
Yeah, it's like kids. You love it. You love them equally.
How long does the green egg take to get to that sort of temperature, Rick?
Well, I think you could do it in an hour and a half, but because I was panicking and want to make sure it was all fine, I did it about 4 hours ago.
Okay. Well, but actually, what you're saying there is that a lot of chefs and people who use the big green eggs, they just love the fact that you can control the temperature so well, but you can also maintain a decent temperature for a long time.
Yeah, a long time. Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't burn fast either, which is great. So I'm going to close that down for a little bit.
Go for it.
We're just toasting that bread. So the bread is we got given it a few days ago, so it's now actually gone slightly stale, which isn't a problem because it's actually even better because we're going to have some nice like little toasted croutons that we're going to chop up, and once the mussels in the bag are like steamed and we've and they've all opened up, we'll sprinkle that over the top, get it in the serving plate, and then tuck in for a really great
perfect
food.
Bit of nosh, and
it may be a good idea if Tim's
exactly. Yeah, I was just going to say
drop him in right now because he can give us a little bit of chat about the wine that I've
drunk half of now.
Half,
and just
drunk
tips
half of,
like,
and put the other half into the mussels.
Wine. Tips like a cooking wine into a Cornish pasty. That's what you do.
Yeah.
How long do you think?
He's never gonna send us wine ever again after this.
That's all right. I've got a better address for him to send it to. How long before they're done?
Fingers crossed, all being well. It should only take sort of 10-12 minutes. So
okay, perfect.
We've got Tim to shut up and stop talking about wine.
They'll be well overcooked.
Yeah.
They'll be ready to go.
Tim, I can see Tim McLaughlin-Green from Sommelier's Choice. Tim, thank you so much for joining us. Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you perfectly, and what a pleasure to join you. I don't think Rick put enough of the wine into the mussels, actually.
I don't think there was enough left. He's been on it all afternoon.
But he's not the only one.
This is the fourth bottle.
Yeah, brilliant. I don't come from a very particularly sophisticated foodie family background, but when my mum was when she was cooking rather, you'd say to her, "Jean, do you fancy a drink?" And she'd kind of say, "Oh, I don't really know. I'll have a glass of rosé while I think about it."
That's good answer, especially today. Do you know, the funny thing is, the rosé Rick and I are tasting right now is a wine from Portugal. Don't normally see it this color. And it's our best-selling wine at the moment. We've had such a fabulous April, and today's been pretty good too. So rosé is definitely in season, I would say. Yeah.
And would you say it's the perfect pairing for the dish that Rick is putting together?
Well, I would say it's a wine that Rick and I are particularly passionate about. So therefore, it will work, and it works well as an aperitivo and also with the dish. But to be honest with you, Rick and I, we try to travel together. We find our education comes from traveling, going to different wine regions, and one of them in particular that really works so well with mussels is Albarino, so Galician wines. One, because they actually grow a lot of mussels there, and two, the saline, salty note that you find in Albarino works so well with the natural sweetness of the mussel. So the rosé works well, but Albarino is a cracking wine to go with it also.
Yeah,
I suppose it made it a bit more complicated because I put like some really spicy andouille in there, and so like when I told Tim that I was going to be cooking mussels, he was like, "Oh, amazing! We'll do like the Albarino," and then I was like, "Oh yeah, no, but I'm putting like loads of spicy andouille in it," and he was like, "Ah, thanks very much."
Yeah. Thanks very much. And the discussion was, do we do a chilled red? No, Tim, stick to Albarino and Arthur's Rosé.
I love it. And I think Tim's up for a challenge. He seems the sort of guy that, you know, would go, all right, let's do that. Tim, can we have a little bit about your background? Because is it true that you kind of got into wine just over a conversation with Anton Massimon?
It is absolutely true. 1987. There's a story I refer to in which Anton Mosman took over a club called the Belfry Club.
Yeah.
And I was working there, and he was leaving the Dorchester Hotel to open the club. And Anton asked me if I'd be a sommelier. Well, wine waiter, to be honest. I couldn't call myself a sommelier at the time because it wouldn't be fair. But that's how it started. There is another version to the story. I trained as a chef, and a friend of mine mentions, Tim, perhaps Anton said you're not a very good chef and you should do the wine. It wasn't quite like that, and there was a slightly colorful language to that story. But yes, it's true. Anton did change my world, my life, and I will be forever grateful, to be honest with you.
I do love a story like that when somebody says that, and it changed my life, and it's always nice to know that it changed for the better.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I don't think I would meet the people that I've met today, my friends and colleagues, and certainly the people that I have in my network today are just fabulous. The top of the food profession, the best fish restaurateurs. It's such a joy and also a privilege. And the privilege, in all honesty, is as a wine merchant to sit down with Rick and Katie and to eat and enjoy food and wine together. That's the magic.
Well, I'm
That's
really...
the bit.
Sorry,
it's funny what Tim's saying, actually, because he's talking about life-changing experiences and how that one experience like kind of shaped the direction Tim went in. But Tim's actually done the exact same thing for us two
definitely.
as well, in terms of we would never have met the people that we've met if it wasn't for Tim's introductions and getting us involved in so many different experiences.
Tim's very generous with his time and with his contacts and with his passion, and shares it with us and with lots of other people. So it's
it goes back to that thing of like relationships, and it makes a huge difference to people when you kind of share experiences and those relationships are sort of treasured, if you see what I mean.
You know what? It's such a heartwarming story, but you know, it's not unique, is it? It's often the case that you get this lovely relationship between somebody who's at the top of their game, really enjoying working with somebody who's also at the top of their game, and that dynamic is really what we're trying to champion at the moment. Is that your mussel alarm clock?
No, that's to say I've got to feed my child in 15 minutes.
Right. Great. And Tim, you obviously have a passion for what you're doing, but you have a simple philosophy. You like to hand pick the wines, don't you? You like to do it for yourself.
Absolutely. And not a little bit more than that, to be honest with you. I like to have my clients involved as well. So we go the extra mile with Sommelier's Choice, and we like to take our clients to wine to create their own wines to go with their food. They know their food really well. What I try to do is be the man in the middle, or bring in the relationships together. It's such an important thing. If you start to listen to your clients and what they want, rather being as a wine merchant that's quite dictatorial in this, you must. It's a relationship. It's about journeying together. It's about visiting the wineries. And, you know, I my simple philosophy is Rick and Katie and my clients are successful. On the back of it, I will be. So I need to facilitate finding the best things possible, but things that are not market, small limited edition bottles. We like to keep the strapline of Sommelier's Choice, the bespoke wine merchant. That's what we try to do.
That's fantastic. And one of the things that Rick and Kate do so well is they adapt to brilliant ingredients coming in that's fresh. Does that mean that the challenge is harder for you because their menu changes quite often?
Yes, that is true. But also along this journey, Rick and Katie find favorites from Sommelier's Choice. And I think as a company like mine, when they have the wines in Padstow, my honor is to Rick and Katie in Padstow. And I think that's the nice thing about my story is we can work together, and I won't show the same wine to a client in their vicinity because they need to tell their story about that wine. My role is to find them, but their staff will tell the story, and wine is all about the story. The same with the mussels we've heard about today, the oysters, and all the other producers they work with, suppliers they work with. The personal part is always the story, and the staff in their restaurants, who are a fabulous bunch of people, create that magic by sharing the story. It's all about training once we find the right product.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, people who put that much effort into the food and the staff and the whole network, those are the people who are going to come out of this really well. 2 questions for you, Tim. Please, can I come on a journey with you? Thank you.
They're good journeys.
Yeah, thanks very much. And of course, you're supplying wines to Prawn on the Lawn, but do you have an online business? Please tell us where we can buy your wine from, if that's possible.
We do. And to be honest with you, my business has been quite possibly 99.9% selling to restaurants. And we're turning a ocean liner around, and you can find the wines at www.sommelierschoice.uk. Everything's available. I've been active today doing some videos so give people more information, my personal stories, not necessarily the detail about the wine, but just the story behind the wine. And it's a big thank you to Rick and Katie and to others that have stood with Sommelier's Choice, having worked with us as being a restaurant supplier, particularly to Prawn on the Lawn, Barnaby's, and they've decided to help me by communicating to private people that you can come to our website and have the same experience in the book. And if we can inspire people to look at Rick and Katie's book, recreate dishes, pair them with the wines that Katie's recommended, that's our role now. It's a very different business model to what it was.
Great. Thank you so much, Tim. Amazing. Thank you for that. We'll put those details that you've just spoke about and the details of the wine that you've paired on our website, thevirtualfestival.org, and hopefully people outside of this little scenario will champion you further.
This is the rosé, if anyone. It's really beautiful.
Great.
Yes, it is. Very beautiful.
Yeah.
There's something missing.
Yeah, sorry. We'll pass you it over. Have a tasty.
Thank you. Rick, are you able to put that dish together? And at the same time, we maybe get somebody from the front row who's pledged to be on the front row on our crowdfunder platform to come and say hi and maybe ask a question. Is that okay?
Yeah,
of course.
And Tim, you can stay there too, because it feels like we're having a bit of a party.
It's a great party right now.
Fingers crossed. Tim loves the party.
Tim is a party starter for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Bad influence on everybody.
I hope so.
We're nearly there. We're nearly there. We're not quite there yet. Let's get the questions going.
Okay, fine, great, thanks. If anybody is watching this on our live YouTube channel, the way that we get people to come with us in the front row is we set some really great rewards. Crowdfunder allows us to put the rewards up and people pledge for them. I think that one of the things that really is quite telling is that we've got people from all over the place who want to feel part of what we're doing. And this whole period of lockdown has kind of, I don't know, it's kind of problematic because the restaurants are closed, but it's absolutely amazing that you're still able to showcase them. Oh, we've got...
Hello.
Hi guys.
We had technical difficulties.
Apologies.
You're sideways.
Adam, can you
hold on.
Hang on.
the landscape?
I thought that was the technical.
Great. Perfect. So thanks for joining us, guys. On my screen, I can see that there's Adam. And Adam, who are you with?
My wife, Emily.
Hi, Emily.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Really nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Whereabouts in the world are you both?
We're in London.
Cool. Nice. And still in London, and you still get a better backdrop than me.
We did it on purpose, actually. We thought before we came on, well, let's move.
Very good. And obviously, Adam and Emily, do you know? Have you been to the restaurant in London? Is that where you know the guy from?
We went to the original restaurant when it first opened, and then we've been to Barnaby's and Prawn in Padstow many times now.
Great.
Super fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, we spent a reasonable amount of time in Cornwall because I grew up down there. So whenever we're down, we always see Katie and Rick and either come into Prawn on the Lawn or Barnaby's. So
Brilliant. Regular. So what's your question? Is it, can I get a discount card?
Well, yes, please, that as well. But we're wondering where you get the andouille from.
because you mentioned you've got it in Cornwall, Rick. Where can we get it? Can we get it delivered up here? Like, where can we get something?
I'd have to double check, but I think like Dutchy charcuterie you can buy
From their
online.
website, I
if
think.
you give them an email, you can. Yeah, Mark will sort you out with the andouille goodness.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks amazing. We need to
And
try
do you
it.
really like it?
Hey.
What's that? I'll show you the
You're welcome. You're
Hang on a
welcome.
minute. Quick drum roll.
I do that joke in work like nearly every day.
Fantastic.
Everyone hates me.
And judging
But
by-
I feel like it's the role of a boss. It's the role of a boss for everyone to hate you.
That's the stuff.
Practicing bad jokes, Rick.
Yeah. I've been practicing for a while.
now that
Practicing
you-
for 10 years.
It's now socially acceptable because I've got a child.
Yeah.
And Rick, can I just stay there, guys? Adam and Emily. Just the butter, the Cornish butter. Let's give them a shout out. Where did you get that from?
That's Trewithen Dairy.
Yeah.
Trewithen. Is that how you say it? I probably said it wrong, but I'm not sure if you can buy online. We got one of our wholesalers to drop it off to us this morning, but we use it in the restaurant, in both restaurants, and they do great milk as well.
I think the important message is because obviously there's people from like all over the UK like watching, well, hopefully anyway.
The world.
Yeah. It's basically to buy local, so it doesn't have to be. Obviously, we're championing like Cornish produce here, and there's some amazing guides, and we want you to support them. But also, equally, there's people local to who, wherever you're watching, that also need supporting. So find your local
And do your supplier.
and do your supplier,
And do your dealer.
and do your dealer, and butter dealer, and stock up.
Brilliant. That's great. Really supportive, because I think that this whole sort of excellence is replicated up and down the country, and you're lucky to be in Cornwall with everybody there, but it is up and down the country where we can find brilliant suppliers. The rest
And we had that the other day. We couldn't get our lobsters up from Cornwall until Wednesday for London, So we got some from Suffolk, you know, and that's someone that contacted us and was like, we can deliver to your restaurant. And we work with an amazing group of dayboat fishermen from Suffolk who we've never worked with before. And it's just another new relationship that started sort of out of all of this. So yeah, you can sort of get them from all over the UK.
Amazing. And Adam and Emily, I can see that you've got the wine on the go. What are you cooking tonight yourselves? Are you cooking along with Rick?
Well,
Funny
funnily enough,
that.
we had our delivery from Fish for Thought today, and I cooked 2 lobsters from live for the first time today, which was terrifying, but actually not that difficult.
With Rick's help,
with some help from Rick, yeah.
Yeah.
And
what are you? Lobster hotline?
Yeah.
This is the extra level that we go to at Prawn on the Lawn
For our
and
customers.
Barnaby.
Exactly. Brilliant customer service.
Yeah.
The other thing is though, we've got some oysters in the fridge, and I was going to ask, at Prawn on the Lawn, you guys do some amazing oysters which are fried with like a creme fraiche. We don't have a deep fat fryer. How can we maybe replicate that at home tonight? That recipe.
I suppose the first, where are the oysters from Fish for Thought as well, yeah?
Yeah,
the Portobello
Portobello.
ones.
So you're going to be eating Tim's oysters, which
Tim
you lucky buggers.
Yeah.
I suppose the first challenge you've got is like getting them open. So
Okay.
I'm guessing I'm going to get a phone call later.
A hammer's all right, isn't it?
Pardon?
A hammer's all right, isn't it?
Definitely need that phone call.
Yeah.
So once you've got them opened and you've removed them from the shell, it can be any simpler. We use like gluten-free self-raising flour, but just plain flour, literally just coat the meat of the oyster in the flour and just bring like you can just shallow fry them. So just a bit of veg oil in a pan, probably like 2 centimeters deep. Chuck a bit of bread or something like that in there just to check that it's frying okay, and then put the oysters in, flip them over after about 30 seconds to a minute, take them out onto a bit of kitchen paper just to take away any of the grease. The creme fraiche we do is in our book, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah.
We have your
on the
book.
side.
Yeah.
And I've done it again, Steve. I've done it again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean,
Go get it.
I can imagine Katie was kicking you so hard.
Here's the book.
Oh my God.
You are my fan.
Yeah.
It was even out on the side.
Can I just
Getting a restraining order. I'm getting a restraining order.
it doesn't look very well used.
Oh no, it's used.
Good point.
Yeah.
Do you need me to check the mussels?
There's one dish
you take over.
particularly that is incredible with feta. I can't remember the cod.
Yeah. And Tim, can we bring Tim in? Tim, what would you drink, or what would you suggest that Emily?
Finger over there.
What would you suggest Emily and Adam drink with their oysters when they fry their oysters?
Oh, sure. You know, we spoke about Albarino earlier. It's absolutely perfect. Oysters, tempered oysters, and Albarino. And with shellfish in general, Albarino is the go-to. It really works. That's all other coastal wines, a great Muscadet, a good Pickpool, which you all find at Prawn on the Lawn, are really a delight to have.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tim. Tim, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your passion. Thanks also for confirming live online that we're going on a wine trip. And with that, when this is over, it would be amazing to spend some time in your company. Thanks also to Adam and Emily. Thanks for joining us via the crowdfunder platform and pledging for that. Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Talk to you later.
See you, Rick. See you, Katie.
Bye, Tim. Thank you.
Bye.
Big kisses.
Thank you.
Bye, Tim.
Thank you.
So,
Right, better finish the mussels off, haven't we?
yeah, come on, let's have a look at them.
Okay.
Right, okay. I had to wait for the big reveal, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. So you've got all those amazing oysters, mussels even. Too much of the rosé. But you can see, look, like get right in there. Can you see all the sauce at the bottom there?
Oh, yeah.
And that's just from the wine and then
the wine, the andouille butter. You've got like the wild garlic leaves. You've got bits of the baby leeks, and then we're literally just like all these little croutons.
Toasty bits.
Get them over there, and like as you're eating them, they're going to drop down into like the sauce.
How does that smell?
Terrible.
I mean, I'm not meant.
We couldn't possibly share it.
I'm not meant to say it tastes like it smells amazing, but it does smell amazing.
Yeah, I bet it does. What a brilliant, simple recipe. Will you do me a favor? Will you take a picture of that so that we can pop that onto our website, the Virtual Food?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not the sexiest looking dish, but then it doesn't need to be. It's about like.
It's not all about looks, is it?
No.
Well, I don't know. I think it's a lovely thing to place in the middle of a table. I mean, to be
exactly.
honest,
it makes you want to dig in, I think.
Yeah.
That's how we work in like Barnaby's and Prawn on the Lawn, like our two different restaurants. It's about putting like good quality produce. It doesn't have to be sexy. Just put it down on the table. As long as it's got loads of flavour and people can like get involved, eat it, have a chat about it, and enjoy it and have a good evening. That's what it's all about.
Amazing.
And drink a good bottle of wine with it.
Or two.
And drink a good bottle of wine.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, guys, that's absolutely amazing. We in our family, we're not very good at sharing platters. There's always a bit of a scrap when it comes to that. But that's been amazing. Really, really enjoyed it. Just to go back to that story I was thinking about, my nan used to send us to the fishmongers. You know that thing that people say, you recognize fresh fish by a nice kind of bright eye, shiny eye.
Very bright as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my nan used to say, don't bother looking at the fish. Look at Alan the fishmonger in the eye and ask him if it's fresh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. That's the way we used to buy our fish. It's been an amazing.
Good tip.
Yeah, it's been an amazing session. Thanks for being such good fun, allowing us into your family garden, and also sharing some amazing, the brilliant, simple recipes that you've executed amazingly well. And thanks. Let's thank you to the supplier. So, Tim Marshall, the Block Shop. Yeah, I know. That was
great. It's been great to be back on here again. Thank you very much for having us, Steve.
Yeah, thank you.
Mega host.
And thanks to Tim and Tim.
Pleasure.
And support your local producers. That is the key message from all of this. There's a lot of guys doing amazing things that have lost a lot of trade from restaurants not being able to be open, and that's the key thing about all of this. Is like there's guys up and down the country producing amazing things that just need support.
So we can eat, really.
Yeah. Totally. It's all about sharing the love and getting all of that information out there. So we'll allow you to get on with your evening and give our love to Sam.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks also to Tim as well. Tim McLaughlin Green for giving us a lovely tip on the old rosé. Thanks everybody for watching us. These really are fun, inspirational little sessions, these Fringe sessions here on our YouTube live. That's it for a short while. However, we will continue, and coming up soon across our social platform, also on our own website, we'll be getting my old chums Jack and Ross to make another announcement for a future program potentially coming up in the next few weeks. So thanks for supporting us. Thanks for looking at the rewards on our crowdfunder platform and then putting those pledges to good use to help support fantastic suppliers and producers that we showcased tonight. Thanks also to the guys, Prawn on the Lawn. You enjoy the rest of the evening. From us, for now, take care and we'll see you soon.